Preface. In the spring term of 2021, during COVID days, I taught my final seminary Introduction to Christian Ethics course in the United States. My first such course was offered at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in fall 1993. I estimate that I offered versions of the introductory course at least 30 times in 28 years, the last half of them at Mercer University's McAfee School of Theology here in Atlanta, Georgia. I decided in fall 2020 to write entirely new lectures for this final introductory class. This book is the ultimate result of that effort. I am deeply grateful to all the students who have gone on the seminary ethics journey with me, but I especially wish to express my gratitude to my delightful final class of introductory students at Mercer with whom these lectures were developed: Angel, Ashley, Jamila, Kristen, Naomi, Rachel, Rochelle, and Talicia. I am also deeply grateful to the great team at Front Edge Publishing for their enthusiasm in embracing this project and getting it out not only in print, but also in video and audio format for the widest possible use. Warmest thanks go to Jeremy Hall, my dear protege, co-worker, and friend who undertook the video and audio production. The fact that this material is being simultaneously made available in audio, video, ebook, and print formats has affected certain formatting decisions. We want the hearing, viewing, and reading content to be identical. For this reason, I am not using footnotes or endnotes. I demonstrate intellectual indebtedness by naming the author and work within the text, while moving the full reference to the works cited section. There are no explanatory notes. This approach requires me to cite only those works that have seriously affected the development of my thinking, which offers insights into my intellectual journey, if nothing else. All technical terms used in this volume are noted on their first use, with the combination of italics and bold like this: technical term. If the meaning of a technical term is not quoted, I offer a brief sketch within the text. To help a bit in situating the intellectual lineage of ethics, I give birth and death dates for all deceased scholars mentioned in the book. A few sections of this book began their life in other venues and have been adapted for use here. Chapter 8 on truthfulness is adapted from a series of essays I published in 2020-21 in my role as senior columnist at Baptist News Global. Chapter 9 on the sacredness of life summarizes material drawn from my 2013 book, The Sacredness of Human Life, published by Erdman's Publishing Company. Chapter 12 on forgiveness adapts and develops concepts in an essay called The Limitations of Forgiveness, which can be found in a book called The Art of Forgiveness, a 2018 collection with Fortress Press, edited by Philip Halstead and Mike Habits. The quotes from Black novelists that are included in Chapter 15 were first used in my 2018 American Academy of Religion presidential address entitled In the Ruins of White Evangelicalism, Interpreting a Compromised Christian Tradition Through the Witness of African American Literature, published in the Journal of the American Academy of Religion, Volume 87, Number 1, March 2019, pages 1 through 17. Chapter 19 on marriage summarizes material presented at length in my 2004 work, Getting Marriage Right, published by Baker Books. Chapter 25 adapts the Glenn Stass and David Gushee 4-box diagram, which appears in both the first and second editions of our jointly authored Kingdom Ethics, InterVarsity Press 2003, Erdman's 2016. More broadly, Kingdom Ethics, especially the second edition, receives sustained attention in this new work. I am grateful for the cooperation of these publishers in allowing new uses of these materials here. In Introducing Christian Ethics, I take up 25 different subjects within Christian ethics. After the early chapters on scripture, theology, and method, I have arranged the remaining forays by thinking of the order in which moral issues emerge over the course of a lifetime. This is a new approach for me. Being nearly 60 years old, and for 6 years a hands-on grandfather of Jonah and Melody Love, to whom I have dedicated this book, have helped lead me in this direction. Readers and instructors can, of course, take up the material in whatever order they choose. A note about my intended readership seems relevant. More than in any of my earlier books, I am aiming for a global Christian audience with Introducing Christian Ethics. Partly this is because I have had the blessing of gaining a growing international audience in recent years. It is also happily rooted in my 2021 appointment as Chair in Christian Social Ethics at Vrij Universiteit, which means Free University, VU, Amsterdam, in cooperation with the International Baptist Theological Studies Center, one of VU's, or the VU's, affiliates. Even as this book was in development, leaders associated with IBTS Center began strategizing with me to get this material into churches, colleges, and seminaries in many of the 52 nations with member bodies in the European Baptist Federation. This core IBTS planning group, David McMillan, Mike Pears, and Ingeborg Toulouse, became early readers of the manuscript. With deep gratitude, I recognize my wife Jeannie and mother-in-law Lenny for their skillful and time-consuming line-by-line review of the manuscript. The book is infinitely more pleasing to read because of their work. My agent, David Morris, has also engaged the manuscript carefully and aided greatly in the project's overall development. As always, final responsibility for the text rests with the author. The legacy of my teacher, friend, and co-author Glenn Stassen, whose dates are 1936 to 2014, looms over this book in a meaningful and complex way. His teaching and scholarship were essential in my development, and some of it, notably the first edition of Kingdom Ethics, was a shared venture between us. This new book offers the greatest tribute one can offer to another scholar, sustained critical engagement, some of the time with Glenn's solo works, some of the time with our joint projects. Finally, the reader will note several references to my father, David Elwood Gushee. He was quite ill when I began this book, and he died before it was completed. Some of our last journey together makes its way into these pages. I honor him as I send this book into the world. David P. Gushee, Atlanta, Georgia, USA, June 2021.